Croquis or something?
Croquis.
Croquis.
These have saved me many a days of bending over, and
Yeah, I know.
and
I know how it is.
near
man. You
near the
bend over,
water.
you need to.
Near the water. I have actively tried not to say water like you.
What's wrong with that?
It sounds like
Forced?
a mouth breather, knuckle dragon type of.
Why would you say that about me?
Sicilian. Closer to Africa.
Wow.
Whoa.
I don't drink adult beverages.
Neither do I. We have that in common.
Yes, it's true. Maybe we can talk about
that's
that
the
for an
first
hour.
one. What is this type? Oh, it's
Green apple.
I used to be strong like John. Then I turned 19.
Doesn't make any sense.
Save that gold for the podcast.
They played the monster man. It was a graveyard. I don't know what you're talking about.
Africa is a large continent. I allow the listener to decide which country they want to discriminate against.
Egypt.
It could be Chad, Egypt, South America.
I love Egypt.
Whoa.
I mean South Africa. Chad, Egypt, different continent. Speaking of continents,
7 of them.
I was gonna make like a vowel joke, like consonants.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I'm not being paid for this, or anything.
Not getting much done. Are we recording?
AJ's drinking the wine, so I think that's a go.
That's a recording.
All right.
You got any more prejudice jokes you want to make?
Yeah,
before
no,
we kick
and
this
not
into
only,
gear?
not even like pity laughs, like just dead
that
air.
was nothing. It was
the,
just
the
like-
worst thing.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Maybe it's that.
It's the croaky.
It was that. Am I likable
Yeah,
again?
if you start making prejudice jokes right now,
Oh.
everyone's with you.
Well, it says I made a list, and the first thing says current events. I think we tackled that, right?
Current events, yeah, we're good.
All right, check. John's career in life.
We can whip.
Do you
through
have
that.
either?
One is the other.
Poetic. Which do you prefer?
They're one and the same.
Okay. I mean, your job as a father supersedes your job as an artist.
Always, yeah.
Yeah?
But
But are you an artistic father? Or an autistic father?
I'm neither.
Debatable.
It's hard to say sometimes.
But I think the only difference between artistic and autistic is how many times you shit your pants when you paint.
There's, honestly, if you're gonna be serious about it and try to get, any type of value out of what you said, it's probably not that much of a difference anyway.
So, can you speak to either though?
To autism?
No, your career or your fatherhood.
Yeah. I mean, it's two.
Is it worth it?
Yes, both are worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both very
work?
hard to maintain.
How many hours of sleep do you get? Or is it better now that Fiona's like, we'll bleep her name?
Yeah, you could bleep her name. I mean, I've been working a lot.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I'm
say
saying.
for instance, like not last night because I passed out, but the night before that I went to bed at 4:07, and
Yeah.
Fiona wakes up at 6,
Yeah.
7:30 sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
So sleeping is not really something I strive for these days.
Are you feeling like the? Because I can only imagine. Because right now I'm like pushing 8, and I'm deprived.
8 o'clock.
Eight
8
hours.
I don't know what I would do with 8 hours of sleep.
It's overwhelming.
I couldn't do it.
It's like eating too much salad.
More than 5 hours of sleep would be too much for me. I can't do more than 5 hours. So if I go to
that got
bed
a
at 2,
visceral
2:30,
response from the gallery.
yeah, if I go to 2:30, I'm up 7:30. I'm ready to go. That's plenty. I can't do more than 5 hours.
How long have you been doing this for? This sleep cycle?
2010, 2010 or so. Yeah,
Okay.
2010, 2011.
Damn.
It's been getting worse.
5
though.
years strong.
Yeah.
Well,
It's because it's
wait.
tough. You work for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, at any moment, someone could just not like what I do anymore, and no one would ever
Any
want to hire
moment,
me again.
indeed.
And then I would have nothing to do.
Right.
You know, so like any opportunity I get, I take. And I
Do you have any fallback skills like gardening or something of that nature?
used to do construction. I could
Of
do
course. It's either that or the mob for you people.
that. Well, I also used to kill people for money.
Like I never said you couldn't switch
That was my
around.
plan C.
Oh man. Can we insert like a spooky noise? No, not you. I'm just like I'm saying hear that owl. Owls actually are kind of scary. Like, have
That
you
was
ever
like an educational owl, though.
Yeah, no, that's. But have you ever? I don't know. I'm in the woods alone a lot. That's just like what we do.
What is that? What we do? Who's we?
You know, the real whites.
That's true. That's true.
But like,
Do you have any idea how many times that people come up to me speaking another language, and then when I don't
Like,
speak that language,
language,
they're just like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I speak English."
Is it like Puerto Rican a lot? And you're from like your jurisdiction?
The amount of times that I've been spoken to in Spanish,
Yeah.
and people, I say, "I don't speak Spanish."
You
They'll just
son
be
of a
like, "What? Are you,
bitch.
like, yanking my crank?"
You piece of shit. Was that Muslim or Spanish? That's for the listener to decide.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
What? What was that? Where were we going with that?
Halloween anecdotes.
Oh yeah, owls.
I saw an owl
When
the
I-
other day on a hike.
Well, what I'm saying is, were you alone?
No,
Together.
Okay, so it's not as
it
spooky.
was fighting crows.
Okay, so it's like a badass, like different. Like I'm talking about like those, like the owls that would be like outcasts in our society, like the ones that are
As
just.
opposed to the owls that are like welcomed in and they like go shopping at Stop and Shop.
Well, the one that teaches you about the Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, yeah.
And there's other
The
owls,
ones
I'm
that
sure.
wear caps.
Oh yeah. Was there an owl in? Was there an owl in Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, of course there
There was
was.
an owl in
He
Winnie the
very
Pooh.
Smart. He was a
Very
smart. Owl.
Owls are very
Generally
smart
pretty intelligent
creatures.
Yeah,
As far as like dolphins, humans, owls.
I think so.
I think in the hierarchy of,
so, yeah.
intelligence.
It's true.
Getting like the chimpanzees. and
Dolphins, dolphins, humans, owls, chimps, Sicilians.
right. You see, I would be offended if all of this wasn't true.
It's Columbus Day week. It's Columbus Day weekend. I gotta give you people a ribbing.
It's really funny because no one, especially in the Pacific Northwest, they don't celebrate Columbus Day weekend.
Well, they don't even know what dark hair is.
It's a like when I was in Seattle and there's all these signs about like down with Columbus, blah 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 blah, whatever. I understand the history, but listen, my people, we don't have a day.
Yeah, no, you don't.
We got this one day that everyone else in the country hates,
and
it's just like
yeah.
I just want a day.
Rename
That's
it though. Rename it.
I'll name it Contino Day.
go suck a lemon day. That's what Italians say.
Italians don't say that.
and the Simpsons they do. So Halloween. Do you have any great to cut to back to the damn? We got cameras on cameras. That's gonna peak by the way right in there. Do you have any Halloween like anecdotes? Anything worth talking about?
I have a lot of Halloween stories if you're interested. in
Yeah,
hearing them.
2 or 3.
I have a lot.
Yeah,
And they all involve murder.
even better.
Lightning crash or thunderclap.
Oh,
right there?
absolutely.
Yeah. Where should I start, man? What kind of Halloween story do you want to hear?
I'm thinking like more of a think piece than a spooker.
A think piece. Well, there was one time. I'll try and make this short and sweet because it is a long story.
You
but
tend to,
as you know, I grew up in Long Island,
as we can all.
and there was one point in time. I think it was maybe my freshman or sophomore year in college, where a lot of people went away to school, and there was only a core group of us left.
Oh right, the
holding
the
it down,
townies,
holding
the
down,
townies.
holding down the neighborhood. So, a few friends of mine and I, we started deciding that we were going to only go on ghost hunts. That was going to be our thing.
I mean,
Go on ghost hunts, right? There's a lot of abandoned places in Long Island. There's a lot of things you could do. So we were going to go on ghost hunts. So we had a whole fall's worth of ghost hunts. And that's where all my stories come from one season's worth of ghost hunts. There's multiple stories. But I'll tell you the most dangerous one, right?
okay.
It's a little long, but I'll try and
the
keep
think
it.
piece though.
I'll try and keep
think
it
pieces
short.
can be long.
This was an intense story.
Okay.
So
I think my listeners are ready.
So this story begins where one of my oldest friends and his girlfriend were in one car, and 3 of my other friends and I were in another car.
Uh-huh.
Now it's good to know that the person driving the car that I was in, my friend Sean,
It's always a Sean.
he is he's one of those guys. Is like every group has one, where they're just
It's
like
the Sean of the group.
They can make anything happen.
Yeah.
When you're in Sean's hand, nothing goes wrong. No matter how crazy
they know
it is.
an inexplicable radius of like people. Like
There's just
they
everything.
know people
Yeah,
everywhere.
He knew everybody. He had everything under control. He knew how to push things to the limits.
Let me
and
ask an
still
important
survive.
question though. Is it SEAN or SHAWN?
SEAN.
Okay,
It's
good,
the right
good.
way.
That's
the right way.
the bootleg way.
No,
You don't want to bootleg Sean.
Well, we had in the car. We had me, the token Italian.
Yeah.
I had 2 Irish, and then a friend of ours was half Puerto Rican and half like Eastern European or something.
Okay.
So we had like a pretty much good like New York City United
like it.
Nations
Yeah, I
thing
like
kind of
it.
going on.
It sounds like a Scorsese movie.
Well, my other friend who was driving in the other car was Jewish, so we
Great.
had it all.
Great.
It was perfect. It was the perfect.
The Hebe.
Yeah, so we were good. So we had heard that there was an abandoned hotel somewhere out east in Long Island where celebrities used to stay. Like I'm talking Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra,
Celebrities, people.
Joe DiMaggio, like that whole era. And
I think there was a point where they all had a 3-way. That's not a joke.
I don't know how to respond to that.
There's no proper response. It's that challenging.
Well, that's good for them then, I guess. It's
Especially
like
Joey.
The 3 best people to get
I
together
mean,
in a time period. So we had on good authority that this place existed. So we got directions and kind of from another person who was also a fellow ghost hunter
the
at the
pizza
time.
guy.
And this is before GPS too, so we
Right.
kind of had to use our wits to kind of get through this. So what happened was the trip starts with my friend Sean pounding Red Bulls. So his car was full of empty Red Bulls,
Nice.
right? A ton of Red Bulls. And we're like, all right, time to go. Let's go. We all get in the car. We take off. We start driving east. So we're going to go all the way east. We finally get to where we think it is, all the way out in God knows what town it was. I
Like
don't even
Suffolk?
remember. Yeah, way out east, Suffolk County. And so we finally get there. And we find this weird little, almost abandoned-y looking restaurant vampire
love
bar
this.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Where we parked both of our cars, right? And I forgot to tell you, as we're driving out there, Sean takes one of the Red Bulls and chucks it out the window behind to my friend Mike, who's
course.
driving. And he's like, I'm going to get him, right? And we're just like, haha, that's hilarious. So it comes in later in the story. It's important. So we
setting
parked
narrative devices
we parked
all
the
over
car,
the place.
and we just getting out of this little tiny parking lot was scary enough, right? We're like, this is
Oh,
weird.
absolutely.
It's very strange.
Especially after you drive for a long time, like the suspension is building.
And we're talking about it, and we're like, what do you think is there? What is blah, blah, blah? And,
Oh.
and especially, like, whenever you hear these things, you're always expecting ghost hunts, but what people always tell you is that KKK members,
Yeah.
like, plan things over there. Like, why is it either ghosts or KKK? Like, there's always just, like, a white sheet involved.
Yeah,
like, it
you're
can't
right.
be anything else.
You're absolutely right.
KKK, like, why would the KKK be there? I don't even understand. Like,
Because it's so far away.
yeah, I guess it's like 45
gotta
minutes
gotta
or an
stay
hour.
secret.
So we get out of the car and we're walking, and there's like this weird little house and a graveyard, and we have to walk through the graveyard and get to the woods behind the graveyard. Walk through the woods, and then apparently it's back there somewhere.
It's foggy.
Oh, it was foggy. It was at night, just like tonight. Actually, it was a warm October night
Yeah.
with a low-laying fog, with like that little bit of a breeze
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
hear the leaves moving and
Almost
stuff.
an evil breeze, one might
Yes,
say.
yeah, it was intense. So we get there and we start
Make sure
walking
that's not
through.
copyrighted.
Yeah, we start walking through the graveyard, and this graveyard was soft.
Oh, shit.
It was a soft graveyard.
Zombie grabbing
Yeah.
soft.
And I would lie if I said I wasn't nervous, because I was nervous because my brain starts playing tricks.
I'm proud of you.
I don't know
saying
if
that.
there's gonna be KKK. I don't know if there's gonna be ghosts. I don't know what
It's one of the two.
what this has in store for me.
Sure as hell isn't going to be
I
nothing.
forgot to tell my friends about my fear of white sheets, so either way, it was gonna be a problem.
Your sheets are rather like eggshell.
Yeah, I always
some
keep-
lavender.
I always keep them a nice off-white to make sure I have sweet dreams. So we're walking through this soft graveyard, and there appears to be some kind of graveyard keeper's home right off set back, and we have to sneak by the window. All right? Like,
Jesus.
if you imagine any movie you saw where someone snuck by a window, that's what we did.
You mean like little dinging noises as you
Yeah,
tiptoe
like-
across?
So we did that. And as we did that, we crossed over into this weird dirt road. Now, in Long Island, especially where I grew up, there's no dirt roads. There's
Right.
no woods.
Right.
There's nothing like that. It's just like wall-to-wall people. But when you go further out east, it gets a little
Yep.
bit more rural,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
lack of a better word.
That's a perfect word.
So we get out there. We walk up this dirt path, and we walk into the woods, and
It's
we
like, oh
start.
shit, dirt.
And we start, we start walking, and we're walking, and we're walking, and walking. It's this way, it's that way, it's the other way, and we just like are looking and looking. So it's like 1:30 in the morning at this point, and we're just like, how much further are we gonna walk?
Yeah.
We still have to walk back, you know.
And
so
drive home.
we kind of threw in the towel, and my friend Mike's girlfriend may or may not have gotten the Lyme's disease in the process. I'm not sure.
You go to Suffolk, it's a 50-50 chance.
There's a really
Seriously.
good chance that she was covered in ticks. I don't know. I remember there being some concern.
It's a
but
warm
I
night
don't
in
actually
October.
know if that happens.
Last feast.
Yeah. So we decide we're gonna call it a day. So we walk back through. And you know, at this point we're like veterans of this forest, you know.
Yeah.
Walk back through, nobody cares anymore. We have our we're like holding bats and
Yeah.
stuff just in case a KKK member wants to, you know,
Wanna
cause some
square up with some
static.
kids.
Yeah. Or if like a Sandlot game breaks out. So
These kids are prepared.
so we walk past, and then we get to like the gravekeeper's house. We
Sure.
walk right past. Don't care
Yeah.
about that
Fuck
either.
that guy.
Yeah, we just walk right past. Get back in the car.
He's just in his bed.
And so we said to my friend Mike and his girlfriend, "What do you guys want to do?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna go home."
Yeah.
I'm like, "All right, whatever. I guess we'll just go figure something else out." So they take off and they leave. So beforehand, it was kind of like we had like a little caravan going on,
Yeah.
you know. But now it's just us, and it's late at night. It's almost 2:00 in the morning, and we're just driving through Eastern Suffolk County, and it's dead, like really dead. Like no one is anywhere.
Yeah.
So we're driving, and I would best describe our car full of people as obnoxious. And one of them was a girl, and she probably out obnoxious to all of us.
That's shocking.
Okay, so we get in the car and we're driving, and we get up to a red light, and there's an on ramp to the LIE, right? So we have to get onto the LIE, go home, whatever. A car pulls up next to us, and there's 4 ultra rowdy white trash kids in the car. And they start like making these faces at her, like, oh, like kissy faces, like, yo, what's up, baby? Like that kind of stuff. So she looks at us and she's like, look at these idiots. She's like, can I flip them off? And I was like, yeah, God, I don't care. Like, go flip them off. Like, what are they going to do? So she flips them off, and then we start dying laughing, and then they get angry,
Yeah.
right? So we're like, yo, settle down. So we're just like laughing, and we're just like, whatever. And
At
it's
her
just,
or at like the whole group?
the whole thing, everything was just like a big
just like,
joke to
"Oh!"
us. And they were just furious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they were doing, why they were so furious by her flipping them off. Like, I don't know, like, what year this is, but they were not happy with that
Right.
gesture. So,
It's maybe still fresh to them.
and maybe they just learned what it meant. They were
Oh, I
like,
just learned this new gesture,
me.
mama. Yeah, fuck me, fuck you.
so Sean turns to me, and he's like, man, what's their problem? And he goes, watch this. So he opens up the window, takes one of the Red Bull cans, flicks it at their car, and then jams on the gas and goes through the red light. And
Wait, one of
hops-
the empty or the full rim?
One of
Red
the
Bull?
empty ones.
All right.
Just
So
throws it at their car.
Not like 2.
No,
But
no.
definitely disrespectful as fuck.
Yes, very disrespectful. And then he jams on the gas and goes, and we shoot up the ramp through a red light.
Ooh.
So they follow. They go right through the red light, and they follow us.
Damn.
And now we're in a
So
high-speed
and now
pursuit.
now you know they have balls too.
They got balls now,
Yeah.
and they're ready. And meanwhile, we got 3 guys and a girl, and they're 4 pretty big dudes who we find out in the very near future who are drunk also.
Exciting.
So we start rocketing down the LIE. Now, the car that we're in is a Saturn that Sean had borrowed from his mom and basically ran into the ground. We're talking 40,000 miles of that, an oil change type of run into
And on
the
a
ground.
Saturn. Those are
On a
designed for
Saturn.
like 10.
But the amazing thing is this thing really held up.
Okay.
So we're driving. We're speeding
Shout out
down
to
the
Saturn.
LIE. Yeah. We're speeding down the LIE, and they're chasing us. So now they start to catch up here and there. We're going back and forth. They start whipping bottles at our car, but like glass bottles.
Yeah.
Right? And I think one of them might have been a Zima. I'm not sure. So you kind of call into question their manhood anyway.
Absolutely.
Right?
Maybe that's why they were so furious.
It could be. It could be. They were like, this girl is showing us up. So we're driving, and they're throwing. They got a lot of bottles that they're whipping at us. So one of them actually bounced off the hood of the Saturn and like hit a truck next to us and like exploded into a pieces.
You fucking kids!
So we're like, all right, this means war, right? So at one point, like Sean is doing all these maneuvers because he's like, he's pulling maneuvers that cops pull.
Sure.
Like he would pull up really close to a car in front of him,
He watched the
and
light
then hit
of
the
Magnum
brakes
PI.
and dive out to the right so that they could, or he would like bump a car in front of him, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So at one point, the car pulls up to us, and this one kid, I'll never forget, one kid hangs out the window. And I don't know if you've ever seen the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons episode.
Almost everyone.
With the gremlin on the bus.
Yeah.
This kid looked
Long
exactly
time
like
ago.
that gremlin. I'll never forget. I was like, this kid, like, unbelievable,
For
man.
anyone who hasn't seen it, though, just picture a gremlin.
But he had, like, long hair that was, like, shaved on the sides.
But, like, if you're just using that term, like, freely, that guy was a gremlin.
He was a gremlin.
Yeah, he was a
so
real gremlin.
he's hanging out the window, right? He's trying to throw whatever he can at us, and his boy is like holding him so he doesn't fall
got
out
you,
as
kid.
we're doing like 85 on the LIE. And he pulls out an axe. All right? So he's holding the axe, and we are like neck and neck, really close together, almost like hitting each other, like boom, boom, like driver to passenger side.
Yeah.
And this kid's waving an axe, and he's gonna try to throw an axe in the window. And he like tried to
my
wind up
God.
a couple of times to throw this axe.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those like hatchet axes.
Sure, yeah, that's
right?
what I
not
was
like, Not
picturing,
like a
yeah.
full axe.
Not like a wood chopping
handheld-
axe,
Yeah,
yeah.
like a handheld axe. So he's trying to throw it at us, and you could see he's like winding up, and he's like trying to whip it, and he just like can't get his like feet right or whatever.
Yeah. He can't get his balance.
Can't get his balance.
His boy isn't holding him tight
He's not
enough.
holding him tight. So Sean pulls this move, whips around, goes around, blah, 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 whatever. We lose him for a second. So now he's going full on effect, like cop mode. And he pushes the
using
car
a
as
fake
fast as it can go.
walkie-talkie.
98 miles an hour, I think we were doing, on the
Oh
LIE.
my God.
Just like whipping down the LIE, and they're keeping up with us. And there are cars on the road because we're getting closer and closer to Nassau County.
This is like just the most white trash, like.
Out of control. They were so white trash, these guys.
Oh,
and we're
man.
just like, we have no
Like,
chance
yeah, like
against these people.
As long as like you're done, like we're done. We're
Yeah.
not interested in
Right.
like competing with you.
We were over it, and it's just like when you look at it, they were four big drunk dudes
Yeah.
out for blood,
Yeah.
and he was three guys and a girl and a pizza place. Is that old reference? Too old for you guys?
Anyone?
Let's get it.
I'm 12 years older than everyone in this room.
10.
So we, so there's just no way. Like, I'm like, if I had to fight one of these guys, I would be fine. Like, I can hold my own. I'm not worried about that.
Sure.
If I had to fight two of them, I'm like,
No.
I can
And
try.
defend a girl, and like
There's a girl-
make sure your boys aren't bleeding out.
I don't know what's going on.
There's a hatchet involved. For
I
God's
know
sake.
that we would all throw down if we had to,
Yeah.
but we didn't want to find out what would come of it because it was just too
This
questionable.
is our island.
we knew.
Nassau.
Well, we knew if we could get back into Nassau County, we'd be safe.
Oh, you'd be safe because
we really were saying
you
that.
know we can't cross those lines.
We'd go out of their jurisdiction. We'd be safe. No axes in Nassau
Like,
County.
I smell money. We gotta turn around.
Everyone here has their teeth. Let's go. So,
And they love garlic.
so finally, what happens is we get into the point, and this is the climax right here.
Some might say the best part of a story.
Some might say. So we finally get to this point where Sean is pulling all these maneuvers and everything. He
Like
decides
unnecessary at this point, like donuts.
this is so he speeds up as fast as he possibly can, and they're behind us.
and this is that Saturn you said, right?
This is
So
the
it
Saturn.
sounds like
98 miles an hour on a Saturn.
like the tires are like grinding
They're-
down to a
oh my
pulp.
God, they grinding. You could hear the engine just crying. He slams on the brakes.
Oh my God.
They move just at the last minute and go flying past us. And they slam on the brakes, and they shoot their car in reverse down the LIE. So Sean throws it in reverse, and we're having a high-speed pursuit
God.
in reverse down the LIE at like 2:30 in the morning
Are
at
you
this
all
point.
screaming? What's happening in the
We're
car?
laughing the whole time.
Oh, really?
And they are getting so furious because we're laughing. We are just like dying. Like they're like, look at these assholes. They're just dying laughing.
Oh my God.
So finally, after we've gone, backtracked to some amount, Sean puts it.
But all the while taking off miles, because that's how that works.
so he can return the
Yeah,
leaf
yeah,
and not
right.
even know.
2 birds with 1 stone right there.
So he throws it in park and he's about to go, but they pull up right in front of us. They get out of the car. Right?
shit.
They get out of the car and we're like, what are these people doing, man? We're in the middle of LIE. There's cars whipping past us. We're stopped. They get out of the car. And
All
they're
right,
all
there's still
like,
cars,
yo,
like-
get out, let's fight, blah, blah, blah. Whatever they want to do. I don't know what they want to do at this point because
I think you do know what they want.
I don't know, but I don't want, it's, well, I don't know if we can get into that.
That's a whole different
It's a
podcast.
whole different type of scary. So Sean pulls a maneuver, and I'll never forget this maneuver. He looks at me. He goes, "What should I do?" I say, "Hit him."
Yeah.
So he turns the wheel all the way to the right, slams on the gas, hits one of the big guys. This was a big fat dude. Hits him. The guy jumps out of the way at the last moment, rolls over the car,
my God.
and Sean goes flying. So they get back in the car. They start chasing us again.
Oh my
and
God.
It's like never ending. So he pulls a couple maneuvers. We end up losing them, right? And this is like right as we're crossing into Nassau County. Okay.
It's like, I can see the light.
So the
It's
scary
morning there.
we were definitely counting down the exits to when we
I'm
were going
sure.
to feel comfortable in our
Yeah,
turn
yeah, yeah.
because we didn't know anything out
Right.
there. Like it's not like we could like duck off and like know where we were going to go
Sure.
or like find other friends or
Like
anything.
no like roads. Like
Had
yeah,
nothing,
yeah.
nothing to like kind of gauge this on where we
Sure.
could like save ourselves. So we're finally seeing the light. We cross over. We're just crossing over into Nassau County, and we see the car. Right? Or so we think it's the car. It was the exact car. The exact car. And I look back, I'm like, oh my God, when are they going to give up? And then I'm just like thinking, I'm like, who could we call? What could we do? Where are we going to go?
Yeah.
So we can just like make sure that we're covered. The car pulls up next to us. We're going down the middle lane. This car pulls up in the left side lane. And I swear to you, this is what happens. It's the most bizarre thing that we ever could have expected, and our jaws hit the ground. The car pulls up next to us. There's still 4 people in the car, but it's 4 Asian people smiling and taking pictures of us.
Just out of curiosity of a different kind.
I guess. I look over, and they're all smiling, laughing, waving, and taking pictures of us. And I'm like,
We're
what
home.
the hell was that? So, I don't know if these 4 white trash dudes were like some kind of Suffolk County specter that were actually just
Don't you
a
know,
couple of
John?
Asian
Asian people are
Halloween.
always turned into white trash at that time of night. Oh my God, that's
But that
great.
was
That's great.
That's the main Halloween story
See-
where we almost got killed by axe murderers.
See, the thing is, I feel like driving's a big culture here, but it's not as much like I feel like cruising is much bigger of a thing in Long Island.
Yeah, we cruised
like,
a lot.
Just cruise. Like here, like we would drive a lot, but it would always be like we'd do more chilling at like a destination
Right.
rather than like a. So that's a great story. The only Halloween story I have that's like worth speaking of, because most of what spooky things happen are never like on Halloween. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, right.
It's
Right.
it's like always in like January.
Yeah, or it's like one time I remember waking up because my TV was on,
Yeah.
and I'm like, roll over, grab
Yeah,
the remote,
yeah.
turn, press the power button, doesn't work. So I get out of bed,
Yeah.
walk up, press the power button, it doesn't work. I'm like, reach behind it, pull the cord out, TV's still on. I'm like, all right, this is a little weird,
Yeah.
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 But that's like I don't know, that was like June.
Yeah, right. It's like oh jeez, it's like warm out, so I can't get scared.
Yeah, right.
There's this one time I think in like probably the same time of year where me and Duncan used to sleep in the same room.
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah, last year. This was last year.
How does it feel to be 14 now?
The voice changing has been strange, but we were like in our beds and it was like early in the morning, like still. It was technically like it was night for all intents and purposes,
Right.
but like it was morning, and we both like kind of like heard something and woke up, and there was like this shadow, like very clear on the wall. There was nothing really casting it, but it had a presence. I don't know how to describe it, and we were both like 8 probably, and like I thought it was just me because like this thing was like obviously alive. It wasn't like it was whatever it was. It was I don't know what it was. It could have been dreaming, honestly.
Right.
But like I looked
Both
over
of
at
yous were dreaming,
Duncan.
though?
That's the thing. I looked over at Duncan.
Yeah.
All he said was, "I saw it."
But you're twins.
That's true too. But fraternal
So-
twins, identical twins are the ones that have the same DNA, and they always are sharing dreams. Always.
Right.
Like I have 2 cousins like that. Me
Really?
and Duncan are just 2 different
You
sperm
have
cells,
other
2 different egg
twins in your
cells.
family?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And just that's the beauty of that. The big family, the Italian side, the one little shrivel of it.
You gonna
so
start
many of
making
them.
fun of that now too? You gonna make fun of your own family?
I could go into it, yeah. And then there's one other time actually where I was at a sleepover with my brother again and my friend Angelo, and it's like 2
Another
a.m.
Italian?
No, a Greek. Angelo
Greek.
Neferatos.
Oh, all right.
And we snuck into his dad's room to look at Playboys, and then we end up looking at him on his bed, and we start to catch. This is last year, Angelo. I'm sorry. And we're like laying
You should
there.
apologize to Angelo's
we're,
dad.
We're like, Stepdads doesn't count.
All right, you're in the clear.
So we're laying on the bed and like we're Playboyed out. Like at that point we're like
Playboyed out?
We're
What
too,
does that mean?
Well, we're too young to know what it means, but we know we like it.
Right,
That's
okay.
how old we were.
Okay.
And it was like this time of year actually, but we're laying there in the bed.
Spooky.
What?
Spooky.
It's spooky.
Spooky Playboys.
And yeah, it was the October edition, so like they were like witches and like
Oh,
giant
nice.
baseballs.
Awesome. Giant baseballs.
But all of a sudden, we're laying there. It's dark. We're like all trying to get to sleep. You know, like that post sleepover where like everyone's still riled up, so you can't really sleep.
I don't think I've ever went to a sleepover. I've ever been to a sleepover before.
That's okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't think I've ever
to describe it, to describe it, it's like you're all like joking and everyone wants to get the last good joke in.
Yeah.
Do you know
and
what
then
I
you
mean?
have a pillow fight.
Yeah, you get
that what
naked. No, Angelo's Greek, so but we hear this outside. It's like pitch black. It's like 3 a.m. and it's like a flute outside,
Oh, nice.
and we're the only ones home. And at first, like
so it's like a Greek Halloween.
yeah. It gets good, trust me. But we all like it was different than the thing with my brother because we all sat up. We're like, what the fuck? Like, because we're at that age, we're like,
Right.
being alone is just scary.
Right.
And like we go outside and there's nothing out there, but we still hear it. And it was so scary. Like at that age, it's not really scary, but it's like so creepy and just like off
Your
kilter.
Flute.
Yeah, that we just looked at each other and just like silently decided to just ignore it and just
Okay.
go to bed.
Right.
Like that was the only way we could deal with it.
Right.
We weren't gonna go outside and see
Right.
who was like trying to lure us out with a flute.
Right.
Or like go down and see like a skeleton doing like jazz flute and kicking.
I'm just like,
As
I
they
like how
do.
you say like lure me out with a flute. Like it's with.
Wait, you're
freaking,
not lured
like,
by
Pied Piper?
flutes? I'm Irish.
I just can't ignore the flute. I just have to follow it anyway.
I mean, it was like sirens from the Odyssey or the Iliad.
Yeah,
Matt,
that's
what's
Odyssey.
Odyssey? I
Thank
should have
God
went
we
with my
have a
gut.
peanut gallery here.
Yeah.
Fact checkers.
Oh, and then the one thing I was gonna say though is one time it was Halloween and I was at a friend's house and we were like doing a thing where we wanted to scare people.
Yeah.
Is that the boss?
No, it's not the boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the boss.
That's
though,
the boss.
In the
It's a
end,
picture of my little
not
girl.
Bruce Springsteen. But I was hiding. Give me a rating on that joke, Peanut Gallery. No.
That was poor.
Yeah, that was,
really
that was
bad.
pretty bad.
But keep going.
We'll edit that out. So we were like scaring people the whole night, and Duncan was killing my friend Steven Demestrio, fellow,
Yeah.
you know,
Paisan?
Angela, he was a paisan. I'm sure we had some other like white trash like Americano folks
Right.
running around, but our goal was to scare people, and they were all killing it. They were all getting like these huge scares, and I guess I was too slow. Would like pop out of leaves, and everyone would be like, "No, saw you."
Right.
And I was like, every person that was like, boo! Like, I was like getting really into it.
Yeah.
And like almost like, almost crying.
You almost cried when you scared someone?
No, almost crying because I was so frustrated that I couldn't scare anyone.
Oh, that's a good reason to cry.
Everyone was like, no, didn't scare me. Try again, next. And so I was like, this time,
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. I am scared. I don't care what I have to do on
Is this where you confess to a murder?
I stabbed this guy.
I've seen this movie.
105 times. I counted out loud. No, but I get out. I
96,
97.
98, 99.
People are cheering on at that point. Do it. We hated that guy. No, but I scare, and I like push the
He chews
guy.
with his mouth open.
It's disgusting. No, but I
You ever see shrimp from the inside?
Great joke.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
What
That was a 10 out of 10, I think.
oh,
give me
Kimmy-
a half.
Okay.
Get out of here. Kick him out of here.
Those foreign judges are notoriously tough. Anyway, but I jump out and I push the guy a little bit.
Yeah.
And I notice immediately it's like a husky dude.
Uh-huh.
So I'm automatically, I made a little bit of a mistake. And the thing is, though, he didn't move at all. He didn't. It was like just boom, and it was like hitting a wall.
Yeah.
And when I stepped back, I noticed that it was like this big guy with like a hoodie on, and he was like obviously either drunk or like very seriously mentally challenged, and he was very spooked, like really bad.
Oh, that's nice.
Like he must have been autistic.
Yeah.
Or like it was just really bad.
Uh-huh.
And he stops, looks around, and his person is with him. I guess his mom, or it might have been his person.
This is pretty much the worst thing that
I
you
know,
could
and
possibly
at this
do.
point, I'm like, oh my god, I messed up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And
He knocked you out?
Right,
Please tell me he knocked you
so
out.
close. He's like, oh, and he like didn't. He was obviously confused and scared, and he reaches out and he slashes me across the face.
Good.
And he had like those long nails because they can't clip their own nails because they just can't. So he had like long nails, like sick people have long nails. He was sick. There's, you know what I mean?
Sick how?
Like-
What do you mean sick? Like when you get a cold, you can't clip your nails?
There was just something wrong with him, is what I mean.
He's not sick.
He had the flu.
It's
No, but like there was something obviously like he was. I don't want to say he was a crazy person, but he was probably the modern equivalent of like a crazy person.
So he had some kind of emotional issue, is what you're saying.
Emotional as well as like as an actual mental like some sort of thing.
All right.
He just had a thing.
I can understand that. Sure.
Like a long time ago, like in England, he would have been like the guy that was in the alleys. Does that make any sense? I don't want to.
That part I don't get.
Anyway,
I don't know where that's coming from.
The story's going
Tell
down.
what happened with the guy.
So he scratches me. He scratches me in the
Lowest
face.
ratings ever.
What is this swill? He like scratches me in the face, and I like fall to the ground. Obviously, I'm horrified at this point. I'm
Wait,
like,
how old are you at this
how old are
point?
you?
this is last year.
From last
This
year.
is all within the last week. And I
Why
get
did I agree to do this podcast?
wait. What
Going.
what's happening? Wait, is it?
What happens? You get scratched in the face, and then what?
Well, the build was just that it was just this. I guess I just spent too much time talking about his appearance.
Yeah.
Because like the giveaway, the payoff of the story was supposed to be that I got prideful, and ended up like
Like hating
getting my
yourself for
face
it.
scratched
Well,
and
it's
like
good.
hating
Well,
myself.
Did you feel bad about it?
Absolutely.
All right, you
I
should
was like,
feel
I
bad.
deserve that.
That's good.
Because like, I don't know. Like, I guess I just meandered a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely meandered.
Was this the same story as the Playboy story?
No.
Yeah, did this come out of the Playboy story? I can't
No.
even remember, man.
Was it
You
a
just
different night? I mean,
you just like went right into. Yeah.
No, I didn't.
What even happened with
I had
the
a
Playboy
transition.
story?
The
just
Playboy
ignored it.
Didn't
story
it
we
get
went to
scary
bed.
at some point.
What?
Oh, that's when you.
See, it's the listener's fault. My well,
What's the next topic?
stop. Keep chugging.
I'm giving you 10 minutes.
Halloween movies.
Oh, Halloween movies.
You made me skip my group project, and now you're giving me.
Yeah, that's
time.
exactly what's happening.
Okay.
Halloween movies. What's my favorite?
Well, just give me some good ones, because like a
Trick
scare.
or Treat is a great Halloween movie.
I've heard a lot about that.
Fantastic.
Is it scary or is it like Halloweeny? Do you know
It's
what I mean?
Halloween,
There's a difference.
It's an anthology,
Oh,
so it's fantastic. Any like Halloween anthology is like my favorite movie
yeah.
ever.
And a lot of people talk about this. A lot of people talk about that one. That one
It's
came out
really
like somewhat recently, right?
Within the last 10 years.
Yeah. So
Because I think what's her name is in it from True Blood.
I don't watch that television
You,
program.
you never heard of True Blood?
I mean, I've heard
You've
of
never
it.
seen it. It was like like the biggest television
It was
show.
huge.
on T-
No, I thought you guys didn't.
Anna,
you guys?
Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
Oh, Anna Paquin.
She was in it. Yeah.
Oh,
X-Men. You probably know her from X-Men, right?
and X-Men, and she's in fucking. There's a movie. X-Men, and you know but I didn't think they did a good job with the generations of Deadpool. I actually I have a lot of friends that are into that stuff, so I do have to pretend I know about that, but
Yeah, sure,
I
you
don't
say
know.
that on mic now, and then when you go back to your friends,
I go into class.
they're
they're all
gonna be like, "Why'd you sell us out?" You're like, "I love comics."
you know I do, but
I'm not even hating on comics.
Trick or Treat, Halloween, obviously the original,
Halloween,
right?
yeah,
The
they're
1978.
all those are great. I mean, you know what I really liked too was the opening title sequence for Insidious.
Okay,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
don't like
yeah.
that one part where it just says Insidious and there's like those crazy, creepy, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, that's like that's
House
like a
of the
classic.
Devil.
House of the Devil is
Fantastic.
great.
If we're talking recent ones,
Yeah, and
it's a
you know what's good
one.
about that one? Because like the whole time you're thinking, oh, it's just like a thriller, like it's just gonna spook you.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it just goes in, like it
Yeah,
goes full,
they went
full tilt bozo.
You know what's a movie? What's it called? The Last Exorcism, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
That movie, I went into it because it's like found
Found
footage,
footage,
documentary
yeah,
type
yeah.
of movie.
It's
And
like
I'm
a
just
mix of two. The
yeah,
two.
and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. Documentary, exorcism movie.
Yeah.
This is a great combination. I'm glad someone finally did this. And I saw it in the movie theaters. So
I think I saw it in the theaters too.
yeah,
How does that? Well, tell your story, and then I want to hear how it ends because that's the only way I'll
all right,
remember
so
if it's the same
spoiler
movie.
alert if anyone cares. It's
don't.
like the whole thing is like this girl thinks she's possessed, or the father thinks she's possessed, and
Right.
as the priest comes,
And then like He's like, wait, he wants to fictionalize the exorcism for some reason, right?
I forget what it is. There's some type of exorcism possession thing going
Right.
on, and she says she's going to give birth to the devil and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's good and it builds and it builds, and then at the end she actually goes into the woods, and gives birth to the devil.
Yeah.
And like when you see it the first time, you're like, oh man, that's so cheesy. What a cop out. But I watched it again, and I like really kind of let myself watch it, and I'm just like. They went for it, man.
With
like,
those
that
movies,
is a win.
With those movies, you got to take yourself out of the like. Wait a second, this isn't found footage.
I think the part that throws you off a little bit is you're expecting realistic.
That's what I mean.
And what you get is fantastic at
Right,
the end.
right.
So it's like realistic, fantastic, and you're just like, where did that come from? But if you watch it again, knowing what's coming,
right. You're
it's
gonna just
done
enjoy it. You
so
know it.
well.
You know what it is. Like
Yeah.
you know the movie's not trying to be anything it's not.
Right, so
Yeah.
you kind of know, like, then you look at it from, like, a historic point of view,
Sure.
where you're like, this is a documentary,
Yeah.
and you know what's at the end, and you watch it, and, like, this fire demon
Like, I
comes
know
out,
it's
and you're
gonna.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's what it is.
yes.
Don't they like end up burning the? They're like.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
and
it's
everybody
like,
dies, and the devil takes over the world.
Yeah, 'cause
it's like the greatest thing in the
It's
world.
like a cult.
Yeah.
That are like, we're the only ones that can deliver this child.
Yeah, yes, and they do
and then
it,
when
and
they
it's
do,
sick.
they light it on fire, and then like a devil hand comes out of the inferno,
Yep.
and like grabs the camera at the last minute, right?
And for some reason, someone finds it and like puts it out. You
Right.
know?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Oh, yeah, it starts off like-
Now, okay, hold on a second. Let me just debunk this after I just praised it.
yeah.
Someone,
This movie is a piece of shit.
someone finds the tape. Like, who's finding the tape and is like giving it away? Like, here, I found this tape. Remember when the devil took over for a week? I found a videotape that someone made of it. And here we
exactly.
can watch it now. And it's like,
and who like
where did the devil go? Was he just like, oh my god, I made a mistake. This place sucks.
Yeah. let me kill this
This,
inferno.
this place was so much better like 600 years ago. Why did I wait so long? I was
Yeah.
watching reruns of King of Queens.
Those Patton Oswalt episodes are
Love 'em.
prime. He plays an Albanian. I never
Jerry
got
Stiller.
that though.
It's
Jerry
amazing.
And who's the it's Kevin who's
Kevin
the,
James.
Yeah, but it's a spin-off of Ray Romano's show Everybody Loves
Everybody
Raymond.
Loves Raymond.
But who's the other guy that's in Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens? It's like a little Weasley guy. I forget his name. He's like an integral character in Everybody Loves
I
Raymond,
don't
which is
remember.
my preference to the
Everybody
to the-
Loves Raymond.
I prefer that to King of Queens.
It's a Long Island show. You know that, right?
They both are.
Yeah. Well, Queens.
Queens,
Queens
it's
is
on
Long
the
Island. Queens
yeah.
is Long Island.
I consider
Take that, Queens.
I consider Queens the blue like the true blue collar part of Long Island, because like all the real blue collar neighborhoods like are kind of near Queens anyways.
Yeah.
And then as you go farther and further, or like towards the shores, you start to get a little bit more. I know my island, bro.
Yeah, you're talking Long Island stuff. I could do this.
I only know that because I hear what my parents talk about.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
they're born and raised. My dad spent the summers up here, but like
Yeah.
they're like you. They talk about it very fondly.
Yeah, I mean, Long Island is an interesting place because growing up, like, you complain about stuff and all these things, but I loved where I grew up.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. But, like, going back and stuff, like, thinking about my daughter being raised there, like,
Sure.
it's already way more crowded than it was when I was a kid, and it was crowded when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's, like, overcrowded. Everyone's, like, really miserable.
Yep.
You know, like,
Traffic is
I don't remember
nuts.
that. Like,
Traffic
I remember
is-
it being, like...
Sure, you remember
You
being
know?
like neighborhoody still a little
Like,
bit.
I don't know if it was like that, but I talk to my dad about it sometimes too, and he's like, everyone's like so miserable all the time now. It's like, I think it's just kind of, there's so many people, and there's so many people being pushed out of the city.
I'm saying, do you think it's that
East,
Manhattan mentality like seeping its way in? Because it's finding its way north too.
Well, if you go to Manhattan, man, it's just, there's no one who's actually from New York in Manhattan
No,
anymore, and it's just
never.
like these like weird, like happy-go-lucky, like Ohio, Arizona,
Yeah.
Nebraska
I'm
people.
gonna make it.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, not for nothing. I don't mind if people come to New York, but also there's like some people that come and they're just like,
Sure.
like they're here like a week and a half. Like, I'm a New Yorker. I know everything
Yeah,
about
yeah.
there is to know about New York. And all
I
that.
couldn't agree. And I also
You
hate,
know?
I also hate when people treat New York City as like Disney World. Like, we're going to New York City this weekend. Oh my God, I'm gonna go to the Empire State Building,
it's-
M&M store.
Well, who are you talking about? Are you talking about like
people from here.
tourists?
People from here.
People from here who are like in suburbs of New York.
Like if you're like planning a trip to the city here, it's like planning a trip to Disney. Kind of.
like up here
Like,
in the Hudson Valley.
well,
Because like where I grew up, it's
More
it's a
our
train
way,
it's
like
a train
towards
ride
PA.
it's a train ride into New
Right.
York. But like people in the city and like, you know, would call my folk Bridge and Tunnel.
Yeah.
You know, because it would be like you would come in on the weekends and people would always just like hang around the train stations and
Yeah.
all those bars and get drunk and then stumble back into like Penn Station or Grand Central, wherever they're gonna go, back to Jersey or back to Long Island or
Or
something,
back up to like fucking
or
like
back
Rockland
to
County.
Westchester or
Yeah.
Rockland or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird. We live in a
And,
weird
but you know
world
what's
now.
weird though? All those, not to insult you because I think you're
You've been doing that
you're
plenty
you're
already.
an individual, but like all those all those Nassau, Westchester, Rockland, like Northern Bergen, like New Jersey, they all are like the kind of the same like cult of personality.
Well, it's-
even Staten Island. I hate to say that to you.
But
I know
that's what it is. I mean, it's
Staten Island is
they're-
just New Jersey.
They're suburbs of Manhattan. That's what it is.
That's
It's a
right, but,
suburb
like,
of Manhattan.
but like there's like a lot of distance, and they all like to identify as their own thing, but they're all pretty much like that
It's all the
same,
same.
that
Like,
like Irish Italian.
I got my cousins in
Polish.
Staten Island. I got cousins in North Jersey.
Yeah.
You know, like we all relate very well. I
Yeah.
mean, I grew up where I would meet kids from the city, like who were born in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And even friends of mine that were from Brooklyn and Queens, like we would be like, "What's with the Manhattan kids?
Sure.
Bunch of weirdos."
They're like
'Cause
nerdier.
It's just like
and-
it was like a different, and that's like. It's not all of them, but
Sure.
a good chunk that we always met were always
Yeah.
very like disconnected because it's a different life.
I couldn't. I always say
You know?
like I don't mind people from the city. They're a little like they're not
I think we just
impressed.
had a ghostly experience.
It's on camera.
Something just moved.
They're not impressed by much, but like I always say like I can't relate to someone who's never mowed a lawn. Like you know what I mean? I just can't.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like it's that fundamental. Like I don't mean mow a lawn specifically, but you know what I mean. Like there's just something about if I'm gonna like open up to someone and feel really comfortable with them, they have to have a certain like real background. Like I'm not saying I'm not
Well-
open to those people, but I'm just saying for me to really jive with someone, it's got to be like that certain.
Well, there's nothing. I guess you can't relate to someone who doesn't have that type of thing. I mean, that's very.
A metropolitan.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different lifestyle. I mean,
Right.
you're talking about like you grew up in a house with grass in front of it, and
Yeah.
they grew up in a 5-story walk
Right.
up, or like they have to take an elevator and had a doorman or something.
But then again, like if I walked the city at night, I wouldn't know my ass from my elbow. Whereas they'd be like, "What are you thinking?"
Right. Well, I say that to my wife all the time too, where it's like I say my wife because I don't know if people
My
know
wife.
who Erin is.
I'm just gonna do a Borat.
You guys know my wife,
My wife.
especially this guy who's my wife's brother.
My wife.
But we like.
Thank you for letting me do 3 Borats.
You can keep interjecting it
Say
if
it
you
again.
want. Well, my wife always
My
says.
wife.
We talk about it a lot too, and if
Who?
my significant other,
I'm never gonna try that.
the mother of my child, and if you were to take me out in a car, right, and blindfold
Want
me
to?
and do whatever the hell you do when you do that, because I know you do it often. But if you were not to do those things that you typically do when you blindfold someone and put them in a car, and you took me and you dropped me off in the woods and say it was like 4:30 in the afternoon or
Yeah.
5 o'clock, I'd be terrified. I would be absolutely terrified. I would get lost and I would probably die.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But if you like
Another Long Islander dies in our woods.
doing nothing,
It's like a Google Earth shot. You're like this close to a road the whole time. You're just like, I'm starving.
I'm there for like 15
No
minutes.
eggplant parm in sight. What else can we eat? Let me see if I have anything else to hammer out after that. Do you have to go soon?
Yeah, we gotta wrap this up.
All right. Like
Otherwise,
an
my
eggplant.
wife is gonna yell at me.
My wife. Do you have any like scary stories or like weird stories like that happened to you?
Scary,
personally?
weird. You know what's crazy is I don't, and it's kind of awesome. My wife has
My wife.
has plenty of scary stories because
Sure.
she's seen plenty of ghosts.
I'd
and all
like to
that
get
type
her
of
in the
stuff.
studio one of these days.
Yeah, take it
Can
easy,
we,
pal.
AJ, can we
So-
with the peanut gallery? We can work that. All right, cool.
yeah, all right. You settle down with the camera. No
Wait, what if
cameras.
AJ decided?
I mean,
Talking to
you're
the
gonna talk to
producer over
Aaron's
here.
people. Just send a nice letter to past lives.
That is her people right there. You're talking to.
Oh
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
send a letter to this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I'll
she.
shut it down. Don't
I mean,
worry.
even Matt has
Yeah, like, they
more
all have
stories than the
stories.
average Joe.
I'll tell you one thing though. When I first met her, and she would tell me all these crazy stories because
Wait,
the
who are you
house.
talking about? Erin?
Yeah.
All right.
Because she would tell me about all these stories that she had because, the house that would you say your house is haunted?
Absolutely, without
Right?
a doubt.
Yeah. The house is haunted.
It's from like the
1860s.
is the first, like,
So that's before we invented like
The internet.
The internet.
I know, it's crazy. It's insane.
Only a few years.
So she had all
That
these
came in
stories and everything like
1897.
that. But there's I think that what I think is that there's a certain part of your brain. I really do think that it's physical, that you can or you cannot see ghosts, right? And no matter who it is, I've talked to plenty of people who are like, I've seen ghosts, I've never seen ghosts, and I don't think I'm one of those people.
Sure.
And when I've heard those things, and I used to sleep in their house when we first were dating and stuff, you know, like I would sleep on the floor because no hanky panky going on in the parents' house.
Understood. Good Catholics.
But you know,
over
like
there.
I would sleep on the floor with my head like pointed underneath the bed, right? And it would be dark. So like
Perfect
that's
for
like
demon
that's
viewing.
nightmare fuel, right?
It really
You
is.
just like sleep on the floor looking under a bed. That's nightmare fuel.
That's
And
nightmare nos.
I never saw anything, you know,
Right.
and I felt like she would see things sometimes or whatever, and I would never see
but
it.
like
So
casually. That's the amazing thing.
yeah, and I felt like that was just I can't see it. It's just
Yeah.
not for me. So if someone talks about like a haunting or a ghost or something, I'm like, "Pfft, all right, cool.
Yeah,
Let them do
like-
whatever they want because
right.
it's not going to bother me because I can't
That's-
see it.
Like some people can look at a math equation and just be like, boom, I know what to do. Like
Right.
it's the same thing. Like not everyone has the same propensity to see like
Yeah, I don't think I have it. I wish I did, but I don't think I do.
my mom like says she has it. I think this is gonna sound insensitive, but I think women are naturally more sensitive to that
I don't
type
think
of
that's
stuff.
insensitive. I
Okay.
think I think
I just
women
didn't
are-
want to generalize.
No, I would say that women generally have. I think they're
More
they're-
sensitive beings.
I just think they're further developed than men.
I couldn't agree more.
There's
Brain-wise,
Just
absolutely.
yeah, like everything. They're just they're able to do more than men can. Like
Without
I
a
mean,
doubt.
I could bang the hell out of a rock, but like there's a lot of things
As could
that
I.
I can't do.
I
that
could
women can
even
do.
like with time sculpt a good wheel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I could get it pretty
Maybe
close
build
to
a
round.
shed.
You couldn't build a shed.
Yeah, no, there's no shed building going on here. No, but I think women are just further advanced
Yeah.
in terms of just development.
Yeah.
In turn, I mean, it makes sense. Like I never heard a story from my dad or anything. Well, my dad has like one story. where
Everyone's got, like, one.
Everyone's got their one, but like my mom would have stories. My grandmother would have
Right.
stories.
All the stories, all
you
the
know,
best ones, all the convincing
My
ones.
wife had stories.
My wife.
And you know, I think my daughter might see stuff too. Because we've come into rooms where
wouldn't
she
be-
looked like she was talking to somebody
Yes,
or whatever,
yes.
and we're just
I think
like,
kids might do
"What's
that
going on
sometimes,
here?"
but my dad has this one story. My dad has this one story.
didn't work.
Sorry, Sacha Baron Cohen. Where apparently
sued.
we were hanging out. Yeah, we'll be done soon. Or we're like both looking at the sky, and I'm like, Daddy, look, and he's like, what? And I'm like, it's Jesus.
Oh,
and
that's
and then I
terrifying.
just start waving at the sky, and like my dad was like, I was too young to make that up.
Yeah.
So, he's like, Dad always gave me faith. Like looking back,
Yeah.
and like
yeah.
I don't believe that. I can't believe that story.
Yeah, right.
But it is weird how like kids will do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's interesting.
It is. I mean,
It's what Mom might say. It's even spooky.
I mean, I could even leave you with this. There was one
Please.
time when I was working later at
Please
night.
leave. I mean,
And yeah, I'll leave soon. Don't worry. I'll get out of here. This fucking place. So
This isn't even his place.
you're kicking me out of someone else's place. It's not even your studio. It's so much nicer than yours, I bet.
my studio is a microphone in front of a laptop next to like some hand lotion and tissues.
I knew that was coming. I don't know why you have to do that while you podcast, but it's disgusting. You should be ashamed. What would Jesus say
how
if
do you
you
think?
looked down
How
from
do you
the
think?
sky
How do you
and
think
saw
I
you
get
doing that?
pumped? I'd be like, "Hi, Jesus." I'd call up Dad. You were right the whole time.
He's there and he's adorable.
No listeners at this point. Like he. Anyway, continue your.
Well, one time I was working late at night and my wife, said something. She goes, did you just go up to Fiona and say blah, 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 whatever to her? And I was like, what? No, I'm down here. I didn't move. She heard
Oh.
a man talking to Fiona, like saying like good night or I love you or something
But like
that.
it wasn't scary, right? That's what I always hear. Like people always have like differences with their sightings. It's like this time I wasn't nervous at all. It was a very
Yeah.
like calm.
Well,
presence.
she was nervous because she was like, who's talking to her?
Well, yeah, I think that like mother instinct.
Yeah.
That mother instinct kicks in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's freaky.
Yeah, it's freaky. I mean, I would go ahead and say it was probably my grandfather because my grandfather died recently.
Sure.
And he loved her.
Sure.
And this happened pretty recently, and I feel like it almost seems like a no-brainer. And I don't think that there's anything like religious to believe
No.
in ghosts. I think it's a very physical,
Sure.
science-based
Like maybe
thing.
even dimensional. Like we don't know. Like
yeah.
how-
So that gives me belief in science
Yeah.
more than like I couldn't really care less about religion.
Right.
But that knowing
Agreed.
that there's more to the universe,
Right. And
I think I guess it's kind of a religion, but it's
well,
it's
the
not
thing
like
is,
a
the
defined
difference
religion.
from religion is to bash religion to end this podcast.
Yeah,
no, I'm
that's-
not gonna
I-
bash it.
that's all right, I'll do it.
Religion is like a static thing. It's like, oh, this happened to me, so now I'm gonna believe that set of rules
Right.
because it applies. Whereas with science, it's like that happened to me. Let me figure out why.
Right.
Like, let me figure out if there's more to this. Like,
Right.
let me see if there's any like quantifiable reason that this is happening.
If you think about religion anyway, all it is primitive science. It's
it
trying
is.
to explain the
It's
unknown.
like the sun
That's
is
all it
rising.
is.
Must be a guy, like
Right. That's all it is, and it's just there's I can
get it though
believe-
because it gives hope. Like
It does, it gives
it's
you
like
hope.
oh, I don't have to worry about dying for today.
Well, even like my grandparents, I lived until I was 30 until I lost my grandparents, and I was
Yeah.
very close with them. You
Yeah.
know, like they helped raise me, and knowing
religious as hell, right?
yeah, what'd you say?
Like very religious people, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Catholic, Italians,
same.
you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever, like, and just knowing that there could be more
Sure.
to the afterlife or whatever
Sure.
is just soothing in grief and
Yep.
and mourning, you know. So it's like I
Absolutely.
could always know, like my grandmother's she's here and she's like really upset that I'm not being a good Catholic
Yeah,
right now, you
yeah,
know.
or
But she
whatever.
could be here and that would be great.
Right, and
You
then
know?
there's that I'm like, I really want to believe, like the whatever spiritual like being I have in me wants to believe that, but then the other, like the scientific logical is just like, or it's done and nothing ever mattered.
I said that to my
and that's
I-
just as comforting to me.
I said that to my grandfather once. We were talking, and he was like, "Well, what do you think you guys?" I said, "You're out on the ground."
Yeah,
What do you
lights
mean?"
out, baby. Like,
You
the
put-
show's over.
You're done, and that's the end of
Yeah.
it. Like, how many times are you asleep and you don't know you're asleep? That's
Exactly.
what happens.
That's what it feels like. Like, can you remember before? Like, where were you during the Renaissance?
Where was I? Oh, I was there, dude.
Well, I mean, you time traveled to study for your career. Of
course.
You know what I mean? Like
We all do that.
Like that whole like you have to like imagine where you were before you
SUNY
were born.
schools let you do that, you know.
SUNY school.
They have a program.
Goes shout out to SUNY and but I think thank you.
Well, thanks for having me.
That was fun.
yeah,
Like,
it was.
Like
We should do it again next time. You don't like bash like handicapped people.
and religion. Hey, and the thing closed off.
Yeah.
It's a sign.
It's a
Thank
sign.
you, Grandpa.
Yeah, it's all
right.
over now. I've had enough.
All right. That was fun.
That's how we sign off.
Genuinely though, that was like I had like
Yeah,
I
it was
laughed
good.
a lot.
Yeah, it was
That
good.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
I'm
had
ready.
some jokes that we're gonna have to either voice over.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut them
No,
out.
You're keeping that shit. You're gonna have to live with the
Connor,
jokes.
Or like-
during his story
Yeah.
of driving, there's a spider.
That's what I
going
thought
down.
you said.
down, and
It
it's
came
just
down
like
and landed
hung out
on
and
you.
landed.
I thought you were
It
gonna make
landed on
reference.
you.